Sports fans, University of Alabama has got one of the best starting secondaries returning for the 2022 season. And guess what? It just got better. There's some more monsters coming into the no-fly zone. Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones, here with you. Coach's coach. Get a chance to I usually don't analyze kids like this because they got another year of high school. And I just really think it's fair I think it's fair to the older kids to give them their love that's already at the college level playing. But I have to eat my words and talk about these two outstanding young men that are headed to Tuscaloosa in December. And I'm talking about Tony Mitchell and Jahlil Hurley, two of the best defensive backs that are coming out in the 2023 class. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Please subscribe, hit that button. Also, make sure you make a comment. Love to hear your comments. I will answer those comments. And now let's get back to the nitty-gritty. Like I said before, I always like to keep high school kids and measure them against other high school kids. And a lot of times folks get excited talking about 4-star, 5-star. But guess what? You're going to get the butter from the duck from these two guys right here. These kids did a careful assessment of them, thorough, just watching them. And everybody that knows me love that I like to play press man, off man. I will go cover 0. I don't give a flip. 5 can't block 5 and 5 can't block 6. So if you're going to get the ball out, you got 1.8 seconds to get it out. If you played me, you know that. Well, guess what? These two guys fit perfectly into what Coach Saban already does listen, everybody knows how many great defensive backs have come out of there, but let me just make you feel good on this. If you're a Bama fan, they just got even better for the long haul. Okay, these young men still have a fall of football to play to be the best they can be, add value to themselves, to prepare themselves to eventually get down to Tuscaloosa in January and be one of the best players they can be as an incoming freshman. But before then, let me just tell you what sets them apart. And, a lot of times with everybody throwing the football around these days, all your receivers, 6'3", 6'4", and even 6'5", and a few 6'6", So now just to watch the whole migration of defensive backs becoming taller and at one time they were becoming taller, but they weren't as athletic and fluid, but now you're starting to see kids like Tony Mitchell, 5-star, Tony Mitchell already at 6'2". Folks, he's already at 6'2". Okay. 6'2", 180 pounds. They say he's the second best cornerback in the 2023 class. Okay. I get it. Everybody has their opinion, but just for the record, talk about how smooth he is at running at his height and being able to flip his hips. Two things that are important when you watch defensive back: their feet and their eye discipline. Okay, never mind that he passes the eye test at 6'2", 180 pounds. Okay, maybe 175 pounds, but when he eats that couple of biscuits, he'll turn around and be 180. But you all already know when he gets to Tuscaloosa, he's going to swell up even then. But the ability to change directions and have a discipline and awareness about where the ball is at all times is pretty special for Tony Mitchell. Just being able to evaluate how he gets in and out of coverages and identifying the routes that are being ran. I think that is what puts those 4 stars or 5 stars, and you start clumping those guys together because of how they're able to identify ball in the air, no stress while you're taking on a defender who's coming at you, and your ability to stay in phase, which I think Tony Mitchell does a great job of. He stays in phase with the receivers. Very, very, very twitchy. Now, that's a corny word. What does twitchy mean? Let Coach Jones break it down for you. Okay, a kid run, you watch all these receivers and these receiver guru coaches who teach these kids all these fancy moves, and they wiggle, look like they're dancing before they even get off their release. And then they take 3 steps, burst, stop, change direction, 2, 3, burst, stop, change directions. Well, that's what we talk about twitchy. And hats off to those coaches that do that. It looks cute. It's pretty. I love it. But, this ball still's got to go in the air. Okay, and the most important part, me being a defensive guy, I like to see those kids that can cover that. So when you talk about twitchy, how can you get in and out of defending a receiver in his cuts and breaks? Do you plant and go? Do you on some balls in front of you? Do you bicycle out to come downhill? Do you T-step? What do you do? Are you light on your feet? Do you go flat-footed all of a sudden? Do you scoot step? What are you doing to be the best player you can be to cover kids that are performing at a high level? Tony Mitchell does it. I love it. Okay, his ball awareness is there. Headhunter, definitely a headhunter. When you got defensive backs that like to hit people, that's special. I mean, they're not afraid of anybody. He does it well on the high school level. Be great to see when he gets up to with the bigger boys. I mean, listen, it won't be no shame in his game, any fear in his heart. He'll make sure that he comes downhill because some of those things are just innate. It's what you do. It's what you believe in. Okay, beautiful feet. Okay, what I mean by the beautiful feet, that means they don't get stuck in the mud. That's old head coaches say, don't get your feet stuck in the mud. Can you break? Can you stay light? Balls on your feet. Can you stay on your toes? Do you know when to accelerate? Do you know when to decelerate? Do you follow hips? Or are you going for all the fakes? What are you doing to put you in a successful situation to be able to cover people? I think that Tony Mitchell covers all those. He checks all those boxes. I understand why they call him a 5-star. I think that here's something that he does pretty well that people, if you ever pay attention to watching him, he fights through the hands of the receivers. I love that. Not every kid that is really good as a defensive back does that, sports fans. Okay, coaches, you all probably know exactly where I'm going with this because there are a lot of kids that can cover and run like the wind. But do they get stressed when the ball is in the air? Can they leap? Can they jump? Do they get lost looking for the ball in the air? Okay, or do you fight through the hands? That is a common denominator that all defensive coaches, defensive back coaches like to talk about, gurus. Make sure you fight through the hands. Sports fans, he does a perfect job with that. And the last thing I like about him, he can cover the slot. Oh, my goodness. You can cover the slot? Just take him out. You watch the film. He covers slot. Guess what? And he does it in off man. Okay, so he does it in off man, which, he'll learn eventually how to get better when he gets to Coach Saban about, everybody likes the motor mirror. Okay, that's beautiful. The receiver guys love when defensive backs like the motor mirror, meaning they buzz, motor their feet, and then they just mirror. Well, they want you to do that. Why they want you to do that? Because you're not putting hands on them. Us old school folks, we want to touch you. We want to touch your soul. We want to disengage you off of your route. And we don't want to wait till you get 10 plus yards down the field. We want to touch you. When my kids that played for me had a great saying, we want to lay hands on you legally. Okay, so that you don't get a chance to free release and make a move. So one thing he does well, even though he's not as proficient in two-hand jams, even one-hand stabs yet, he has great mirror skills. Got to give it to him. Okay, anytime you can play off man, 5 yards off the ball, still covers somebody with perfection, he does it. Now, let me move over to Mr. Hurley. Well, I tell you what, fluid hips, 6'2", 6'3", some say 170 pounds. Out of Florence, I love his burst. His burst is special. Okay. He also can play. When I look at him, I think of a star player because he can be that third secondary guy because on his film, he can play in the box. And, you got to be a mean person. You got to have some meanness in you to play in the box. Okay. You can't, you hesitate. You're going to be my height. Okay. But if you become that dog where you can play in the box and come up and read your keys and make plays, that is a defensive coordinator's coach's dream in Division I football, especially in the SEC, where they ask those guys to line up sometime on the hash. You got two deep on the hash, or you put one high, a single high safety, because a lot of people like to play the cover three, and then you play that monster, that dude, that dog, that guy who's going to run through people's soul. You let him go ahead and get in the box. Okay, when it's all said and done, Jahlil Hurley does a great job with that. Not afraid to two-hand jam. Jahlil, I love you. You're not afraid to touch somebody. Okay, reach out and touch somebody. Because you got to have a very good feet to make sure that you don't lunge at people. Now, don't get me wrong. He doesn't look like people that I know back in the old day, like Mel Blount, when he used to touch people. But what he does is, for a high school player, you could tell he's well versed in not being afraid to two-hand jam. Sports fan, that is just like finding a unicorn. Okay, it doesn't happen. Most people don't teach two-hand jam because most of these young guys that teach the secondary stuff are afraid of it. They rather go motor mirror. Okay, once again, that's pretty. But if you have that dog in you to touch somebody with these things right here at the line of scrimmage and not afraid of him getting away from you and wiggling off of you and going vertical, then you got a special player. He can play in the box. Sports fans, he could be that star for Alabama. And guess what? The greatest part about Jahlil Hurley coming down there along with Tony Mitchell is they've already got people there that do it to a high level. So all they're going to do is learn how to get it done even better. It's going to be a beautiful sight down there in Tuscaloosa, y'all. Sports fans, if you are a Bama fan, they just got 2 DBs that are no-fly zone commandos. They have an S on the chest, and that's coming down to Tuscaloosa, and they'll be there. You get a chance to watch them play. And last but not least, what I like about Hurley, he can play all positions. He can play all positions, okay? Most kids are proficient in just one. The great ones usually are able to do it all. And with that being said, sports fans, thank you for taking time out to listen to me talk about 2 great kids that are headed down. Bama commits. All right, they're going to already be a part of a great legacy of people that played in the secondary, just like all those guys that have gone on to the NFL. In fact, I can't remember if it was either Tony Mitchell or it was Jahlil Hurley. When he was asked why is he going there, he said, because when you want to be one of the top, you want to be coached by the best to ever do it. And sports fans, Nick Saban is the best to coach secondary to ever do it. He gets the kids. He nurtures them. He teaches them how to do it. And shout out also to T-Rob, Coach T-Rob. Okay, y'all call him Tavares Robinson. To me, Bull Jones, he's T-Rob. He's the secondary coach at University of Alabama. If you know him, you love him. He has a great connection with kids, and it's so genuine. If you know him, you love him. Sports fans, thank you for watching Coach One Sports. Once again, you enjoy the show. Please make sure that you go ahead and subscribe, hit that button, and or leave a comment. I do respond to the comments. Love to hear back from you. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to Coach One Sports with yours truly, Coach Bull Jones. We'll see you later.